Hello everyone. Today our plan is to describe the labor in occipital-posterior position. Abnormal labor we are planning to discuss. There are two types of abnormal labor which result in occipital-posterior position. One is deep transverse arrest and second is persistent occipital-posterior position. In 90% of cases of occipital-posterior position, there is with good uterine contraction, average baby weight and adequate pelvis, there is long internal rotation of occiput towards the pelvic symphysis and vaginal delivery occurs. This occurs in 90% of cases, provided everything is okay, all 3 points are okay. But in 10% of cases, there is chance of deep transverse arrest. Now what is this long internal rotation of the occiput? I will show you on this paper. Suppose this is the sacrum, this is the pelvic symphysis, here is the occiput, vertex right occipital posterior position, the direction of occiput is here. So from this position, it moves towards the midline, that is 3/8 of a circle, 1, 2, 3. So 3/8 of a circle, it rotates into the pelvic cavity on the pelvic floor. However, in VLOA position or vertex left occipital posterior position, anterior position, it has to rotate only one part to come below the pelvic symphysis. The internal rotation occurs on the pelvic floor. Here it has to rotate long internal rotation, here the rotation is less. That is why in occipital posterior position there are chances of prolonged labor. Now let us learn what is the deep transverse arrest. In deep transverse arrest, the head is deflexed in occipital posterior position, but the deflection is little bit less. Like this is well flexed head and this is deflexed head. The deflection is more. When it is well flexed head like this, it is deflexed head, or deflection is more, or it can be broad or can be fixed. It is like that. So depending upon degree of flexion, the labor is affected. In occipital posterior position, when the deflection is less, means the chin is not approximating the chest, not touching the chest. In these cases, this diameter of engagement is suboccipitofrontal. It is 10 centimeter. Normally in vertex presentation, when the head is well flexed, what is the diameter of engagement? It is suboccipitobregmatic. It is 9.5 centimeter. However, here it is suboccipitofrontal, diameter 10 centimeter. Subocciput point you know, and this frontal point extends up to the anterior margin of anterior fontanelle. So it is like this, subocciput to the anterior margin of anterior fontanelle on fetal head. So this is the diameter of engagement in cases of deflexed head, when the deflection is less. Okay. Now what goes wrong in cases of this when the head is deflexed is in well flexed head the occiput is at a lower level. When the head is deflexed, sinciput and occiput both are at same level. When the deflection is more, sinciput is at a lower level, occiput at a higher level. Now let us learn when the head deflection is less, means when the sinciput and occiput they are same level. The head enters into the pelvic cavity like this only, deflex fashion. So 10 centimeter is the diameter which enters. But somehow at the level of ischial spine, the interspinous diameter is also 10 centimeter. It cannot negotiate this ischial spine. After full dilatation of cervix, even though the uterine contractions are good, there is no further progress of labor at this level. Moreover, the second reason is for the arrest of labor is, in these cases, occiput and sinciput both are same level and both touch the pelvic floor. That's why this also tries to come below the pelvic symphysis with the Hart's rule, and the levator ana pushes. The levator ana on this side also push the sinciput towards the midline, and there is no one succeeds. This results into deep transverse arrest. There is no rotation. There is arrest of labor in the transverse diameter. The arrest may occur at the level of ischial spine, or even in the pelvic cavity also it can occur, but usually it occurs at the level of ischial spine or on the perineum. How do you diagnose it? I can diagnose in the second stage of labor. My patient is in second stage of labor. Below ischial spine the head is means +1 +2 station, or maybe at 0 station. 2 hours in primary is the duration of second stage. So there is no progress of labor. 2 hours in primary, 1 hour in morphine. With sagittal suture in transverse diameter. Here show us sagittal suture in transverse diameter. And anterior fontanelle is seen, is felt on PV examination. There is no progress of labor. We diagnose it as she is a case of deep transverse arrest. Now what next after diagnosis? In these cases, in modern obstetrics, the treatment is cesarean section itself. However, rarely when it is a second baby of twin pregnancy, everything is patulous and the head is on perineum. For second baby of twin pregnancy, vacuum can be applied and with that rotation is effective and vaginal delivery may result. That is the only condition where vacuum can be applied. But otherwise, the treatment for deep transverse arrest is the emergency lower segment cesarean section. Now let us know what are the risks of this deep transverse arrest. First thing, most important is the prolonged labor. Because of the prolonged labor, there is retraction, escape, early rupture of membrane is there. The dilatation of cervix is not proper. That is the second issue. Thirdly, the uterus gets retracted over the fetus. Placenta gets compressed here. Placental circulation hampers this fetal distress. Further, still no treatment, no attention is given to the patient. What will happen? Prolonged labor can land up into obstructed labor. Still, patient is not attended, then impending rupture of uterus with the fetus getting expelled out in the abdominal cavity. So this is how the things go wrong when the deep transverse arrest is not managed properly. Our intention in learning this is I must identify what is the risk of labor in occipito-posterior position and when I have to interfere. Interference should be done with the help of partogram. In these cases, suppose this is the partogram I have shown here. Partogram is kept on this paper. It is like this. But for the details I have drawn it, I have magnified the picture. This is secondary transverse arrest. This is the descent of the head, normal descent of the head, hyperbolic curve. However, in occipito-posterior position, initial part of the labor, there is descent of the head. Then further, for next 2 hours, there is no descent of the head. This is known as secondary arrest of labor, transverse arrest. Primary transverse arrest means head enters into the transverse diameter. Further, I observe still there is no progress of labor. It remains like that. Now in these cases, when there is primary transverse arrest, the head enters into the transverse diameter of the pelvis, then descends up to the ischial spine. Further, descent doesn't occur, and there is arrest of labor in the transverse with the sagittal suture in the transverse diameter itself. That is known as primary arrest of labor. The treatment in both conditions is cesarean section, but I must monitor the patient by keeping the partogram. Descent of the head is how do you predict that head is descending? By per abdomen examination. You palpate here whether head has descended or not. Palpate this side. Look for occiput. Normally the occiput enters first. So per abdomen we examine the patient every now and then and look for the descent of the head. You look for the dilatation of the cervix also. That is why monitoring of the patient is important in occipito-posterior position. Patient should also be well prepared for LSCS in advance. Like she should be nail by mouth, IV fluid should be given, she should be well hydrated, injectable antibiotics should be given, and anesthetist, nurses should be available in emergency. Neonatology should be available. As there is risk of birth asphyxia, then there is a risk of neonatal poor gas score at birth. So baby may need resuscitation at birth. Hence, everyone should be ready, and for facility for emergency LSC should also be there. That's all. Thank you so much.